Some of that was true. But Lance has always been known for exaggerating a few things. But it's hard to separate them, so we just believe it's all true. Most of us are old enough now that, we get to the point where we can jump higher and run faster and do a lot of things now that we could when we were 25, 30 years old. So anyway, thank you all for coming. It's just overwhelming to see this many friendly faces. You look back and when we used to fill the gym and like Lance said, and we've all talked about, we probably scored a few points before we ever blew the whistle because we had such a reputation and such a crowd that, remember, along this area right here, we had about 4 or 5 what you would like to call overly avid wrestling fans. Charles Bragg and I think, let's see, what was his name? Anyway, one worked at the Times, but they kept the officials honest, and if the official made a mistake, they were notified real quick, and we had pretty good officials from then on. But anyway, I want to go back a little, and some of these people, they're no longer around Fort Morgan, but when I came here in '59, Barney Sanders was the coach the years before, and he was a good coach, and he had some state champions, but he was getting to the point where he wanted to do some other things, so he brought my name up after that first year of coaching, and I was lucky enough to have a state champion, individual state champion, over from a little town in Western Slope, Paonia. Anybody know where that is? Yeah. And we had a good time over there, and Marty recommended me to the staff here, and I come over that next summer and interviewed, and they said, okay, you got the job. And Barney and his lovely wife, Dorothy, supported us to the hilt and spent years with the microphone, introducing the teams and supporting us. So that was a special relationship. Fred Chandler over at the junior high, Harold McRae, Mike Nault, all good people that got along good with us. We would send, at the end of the season, or during the season, kids over, help them coach, and they really built a foundation. I think Tom Teal is involved in a couple of situations where Mike would bribe him, and they helped paint his house. And I think they ended up with 3 different colors. And quite a bit of it got on the house. But that was the kind of junior high support we had. And I ended up with one of the best assistant coaches that ever in Colorado, Dick Harden. Dick was with me for many, many years, and through the good times and a few bad, and he also done some officiating and was involved in wrestling and took over the head job later on. And Jerry Teal can't be here because his wife is not doing well with the illness. Virgie Graff come on board, so I had real good assistant coaches, and always said, you know, if you just get people around you that work hard and believe, it'll come out okay. So I was really lucky in that respect. And my wife Nancy and Julie and Janet and a few others put together some of the greatest after-season meals, and it was a fantastic time during that winning streak. But let's see, quite a few people here. Does anybody remember the main course, or do you remember what we ate after the main course? What was it? Huh? Chocolate chip cookies. Yes, she would make, I don't know how many dozen, and before they all left, somebody would walk off with the last one, and we had contests where 2 or 3 of them would eat 30 some chocolate chip cookies and declare themselves the winner. But they were good times. Cooks over at the high school, Mama Stroh, boy, she was the best. She would box up apples and oranges that they had left over, so they'd have something to eat, because she always felt sorry for all those little skinny wrestlers. She'd make sure we had something to eat and help us out. The parents were super. Never had an ounce of trouble with parents, and they supported everything we did. And a lot of people have been involved in this particular award situation, and nobody has really mentioned 1965. I said, well, why is that? We were second state that year, and come within one match of winning state, had 2 state champions, and that really started the ball rolling for our youth programs and a lot of other things that the people got on board and supported. So that's just a little bit of a background history. And when I interviewed, it was a kind of a coming across the hill that we called the mountains, and had a real good interview and covered some things, and we talked about the program in general, and Marty had some good wrestlers, good teams, and a reputation as a good school that we were all involved in, that parents would support you. So I felt real comfortable coming into town and getting involved in the sporting program. And we seemed to get to the point where we'd have 3 or 4 good years, and then kind of run out of material, and people would start questioning, what the heck did that coach, did he forget everything he was learning back? And I said, no, you don't have the horses to pull the plow. It's pretty tough. And old Bill Bragg come up and he says, well, yeah, coach, you got to have somebody that cracks a pretty damn good whip. So I said, well, Bill, that makes sense. So we went from 1965, 2 or 3 lean years, from 65, 73. I had some of the greatest kids that ever stepped on the mat. And we all got along, worked hard, and at that time, at the end of the period, near end of the match at night, after they were real good and tired, I would jump on Bob Bragg and just thrash him. And the same with Hope. And he whimpered, It was pathetic. I made sure I timed it just right, but they were already about to pass out. So keep my reputation going. But we had some great runs, and we had a little down period there after 73 for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden another bunch of real good kids come along, and my sons were involved in that, and had a lot of good parents that supported the program. And I always said, if you play things just right, say the right things at the right time, you can sit back and take a lot of credit for a lot of stuff that everybody else was doing. And I had great assistant coaches and great kids that worked hard. And Okinawa one night was in the line waiting. Remember the old chant? Coach, coach, open the door, like those Mustangs on the floor. Okinawa was going to do cartwheels. Coming out of the locker room, I said, "Oh, if you do one cartwheel, you don't wrestle tonight." And I said, "I'm expecting a pin in the first period," and he did. So we had an understanding at times that worked out pretty good. So I've got about the principal, Clint Anderson, the AD, Andy Schoen, the Board of Education, and Rob Caruth has supported this program for years, and they all had a part in this. And Mike Bain, he only was out for wrestling, I think, for 2 weeks, and had smart enough to figure out there's other things that were easier to do. So he did a lot of the groundwork and helped get it organized. And I can't even name how many people were involved in all this put together. But we all appreciated it. And I didn't expect a crowd like this. There's a lot of gray-haired people here. I think that was we get so old so quick. But anyway, it was a fun run. I enjoyed a lot of it immensely, and I'm heartbroken a few times when we didn't quite measure up. But all in all, it was a great time, and I see a lot of faces here that are not only great to remember what they did on the mat, but have been friends for, 30, 40 years now, whatever. And now I'm going to turn over to, I think my sons want to say a little something. Kind of short because they get a little windy. Then we'll open it up to the crowd. And wrestlers or fans or whoever, got something good to say? All right, if you don't have anything good to say, we can lie about that. Thank you all for coming.